Hey guys, Jason Fulmore, SC Wrestle. Welcome to our special series of 6 minutes focused on the 2022 Tricia Saunders award winners. I had an opportunity to sit down and talk to the award winners, and it was a blast. And you'll see one of the interviews after this intro. But before we get to that, I thought it would be important to explain what the award is and who is Tricia Saunders, because I'm not sure everyone knows. First and foremost, this award is awarded to the top high school senior in each state for excellence on the mat, in academics, and in community service. And Tricia Saunders is truly, I think, a pioneer in women's wrestling. Not that I think, she is truly a pioneer in women's wrestling. And it's important that I think we understand how much she did to forge the way for all the young women who are participating now. So I'm going to read a little bit from the National Wrestling Hall of Fame bio about Tricia Saunders to give you some perspective. First, she was a 4-time world champion and was the first woman ever inducted as distinguished member of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. She captured world championship gold medals in 92, 96, 98, 99. She was outstanding wrestler in 1992. She's the first U.S. woman to win a world title, and she's the only American to win more than 2. Although, when this was written, I'm not sure that they'd seen the likes of Adeline Gray and so on and so forth come along. So I don't know if that record still holds true. She won a record 11 U.S. National Women's Freestyle Championships, and she never lost to a fellow U.S. competitor. She is a strong advocate for women's wrestling, served in leadership positions in USA Wrestling, and pushed for women's opportunities in the sport. She was named the first ever USA Wrestling Woman of the Year in 1997, and has been awarded Woman of the Year numerous times by the U.S. Olympic Committee, so on and so forth. So Tricia Saunders has really set the way, and it's quite an honor to have an opportunity to talk to each of the 6 winners from the Southeast, and just real quick go through those for you. Number 1 is Yasmini Oliveira from Spain Park in Alabama. Ella Beam from Burns High School in North Carolina. Ella was also the Southeast winner, because not only do you win for your state, but then you compete against the other winners to see who wins for the region. Juliana Diaz from Dr. Phillips was the winner from Florida. Lisa Glimpf from Marietta was the winner for Georgia. Bella Hoffman from Fort Mill was the winner for South Carolina. And Valerie Smith from McGavock High School was the winner for Tennessee. I hope you enjoyed the interview that you tuned in for, and check back to watch some of the other interviews. So let's get on to the interview. Right. Thanks. Today I'm here with Ella Beam, North Carolina's Tricia Saunders Award winner. Hey, Ella, how are you?
Pretty good for the most part. Just having a good day, so.
Yeah, busy. You've been busy today. Have you been busy since the end of wrestling season? Busy spring?
Yes, I have just been going back and forth about twice a week down to Presbyterian, and just really been training and working out and just trying to stay in shape and prep for Fargo. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So already getting in the room. We're going to talk about it at the end, but we can certainly talk about it at the beginning. So why Presbyterian?
I love this school. You know, they're building a program, and the coaches are awesome. Coach Cody, Coach Zach, Coach Brian, all of them bring something to the table, and each have had their own experience. Coach Cody, for example, he's coached national champions, and he's been head coaches at huge Division I programs. So he knows what he's doing, and I just love it, the atmosphere there in the campus, and all the girls that are there to win. They're not there just to be on a team. They're there to be national champions. So.
Yeah, it looks to me like they're really building a solid program. I know it's been around for a few years now, but they've started putting all the pieces together. At least that's what it looks like from the outside. So
yeah, they're definitely working hard there.
So how far is that to travel down to?
Just about an hour and a half, hour 45 with traffic. So
that's nice.
Yeah, it's really close.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's go back to the beginning. And how did you start wrestling? I know you've been wrestling for a while because I've watched you wrestle for at least the last 4 or 5 years. When did you start and how'd you get into it?
I started when I was in seventh grade. It's kind of a crazy story, but to keep it short, I really wanted to play football. And my mom, she had kind of some things set up for it. And at the time, being a seventh grader in middle school, I didn't want to do those. And so she told me I couldn't do it because I wasn't prepared enough for it. And it was really more of a guy sport and it was really physical. And so I called my family up north and I said, hey, I need a sport that'll like just blow it out the water. Like, I mean, she's not even gonna see it coming. And like, okay, well, you need to wrestle. And they tried talking me into it before, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. And then I did it and I fell in love with it. Like within the first couple of days, my parents thought I'd get slammed and then I'd come home and cry and be all upset about it. And I came home and I was like, I'm throwing these people around like they're sacks of feed. Like I'm ready to go. And I fell in love with it. So,
well, and you have, I mean, you won the Women's Invitational in North Carolina for 4 years. And, you know, it's kind of got to be a little bittersweet. You're very graduating much. And now they're sanctioning the sport. It's going to be sanctioned in the state. But how does that make you feel as far as being kind of a trailblazer and kind of making that happen?
Like you said, it is very bittersweet. You know, it's bitter because I've been here for 4 years and to have like that real state title, you know, they've been told we have to go to men's individuals and all that stuff. And you know, the invitation was awesome, but being the trailblazer for me was really huge because, you know, I'm huge in my faith and I just felt like God put me there for a reason and being able to show other girls, you know, this isn't just a guy sport, you know, this isn't just, you know, a one hit and done, you know, you're only going to be wrestling men and showing them that when you go on these higher levels, you get to wrestle all these girls and really get experience. It made me feel like I was really doing something with my life and really gave me a purpose behind my passion. You know, I grew a passion for it. But I didn't know how to use it. You know, all these famous athletes, they always find a passion and they use their passion to better everything else. And at the time, I didn't understand how I was supposed to do that. And then seeing all these little girls come up to me at tournaments my team would go to and all these things saying, oh my gosh, like, you wrestle, you inspire me. Like, how do you do this? I'm like, and just talking to me for like 30 minutes in between rest times and stuff, you know, it really just boosted my confidence and made me see that I am the hope. You know, I'm people's hope at some point, and people really want to do this because they see that it's not just a one and done for girls. It's growing. So it's bittersweet, but I'm really glad that everybody else is now going to have huge opportunities and they're really going to have a real state championship and it's really going to grow. And I'm just so excited for that.
That's so cool. So you are the Tricia Saunders Award winner for North Carolina, which was an amazing accomplishment because there's a lot of really talented girl seniors that are graduating this year. But you're also the Southeast. You won for the Southeast. So, I mean, we're talking 11 states across the Southeast. How big is it to not only be recognized in North Carolina, but be recognized for that part of the country?
It's crazy. It's really funny. Me and Rex Wells were talking and I put my application in and I didn't even know it. He was like, yeah, fill out this application. I was like, okay. And I never heard anything back on it for like 3 months. I was like, well, that went out the water. Like that was, well, you know, it is what it is. And he calls me and I'm driving down to Presbyterian. I'm driving on the interstate and he goes, lady, congratulate you on being the Southeast regional winner. And I was like, what? Like I started freaking out. I almost had to pull over. I was freaking out so bad. And it was so crazy because it's out of the 11 states, you know, that means I not only had, decent enough wrestling accolades, but it comes with everything that I've had to do in between seasons, you know, community service, academic excellence and everything. And for me, it was so huge because recognizing statewide, you know, everybody in North Carolina, like women's wrestling, everybody knows who I am, you know, but not everybody across the country. You know, a couple girls at a tournament might be like, oh, that's that chick from North Carolina. But, you know, being recognized for that, I felt like it's so much more because Tricia Saunders is the trailblazer for women's wrestling. You know, she put it on the map and being recognized at that level, it really just blew me out of the water. I was so honored and it was just really crazy. It was an awesome moment.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the community service because that is a huge aspect of this. So you obviously knew you were nominated and you know, by your coach and that sort of thing. What is the community service that you do that kind of, you know, that we can talk about?
Yeah, the community service I do behind it. So like I said, I'm huge in my faith. I go to my church and I love volunteering in our kids ministry. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. I work with 4 and 5 year olds and I go probably about 2 Sundays out of the month, and I spend maybe about an hour, hour and a half during one of the church services. And I just sit in there and, I just work with them and I teach them about God. I teach them about different things, play with them, give them snacks. My youth group also does next level stuff, which is where we go into our youth group and we minister to other kids. I go on a lot of missions trip during middle school. I went on like week-long mission serve trips where we get up and we rebuild people's houses and their roofs and we paint for them. I do AFJ ROTC, so I'm really involved with stadium cleanups. We built a ramp for a lady this year. She hadn't been able to get out of her house in 2 years due to COVID, and she couldn't get out because she didn't have a way. Her stairs were too steep, and we went out there and spent the whole day. We built a ramp for her. We just do all different types of stuff. I volunteer with another church at Hope. I used to do children's ministry there. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I just do so much stuff. I'm so involved in my community. My community they're my biggest support, so I always try to give back as much as I can.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So as we kind of wrap this up, one of the questions I always am interested in asking is, what is a talent you have off the mat that very few people know about?
Man, that's a tough question. I really think it would just be like off the mat.
Yeah.
It would just be my love and my care for everything that goes behind the scenes. Like you can go and wrestle all you want, but when you get off, it's the bond that I have with my team. Like if one of my guys, like we had a couple guys on our team this year, they had their grandpas die and it was really hard for them and they had a really hard time getting back in. And it was going and, having my mama cook a casserole or something and taking and sitting with them and being there for them and really just building bonds and that love and that care for everybody on my team and everybody in my community. Like I told you, I do so much community service, not just for the hours, but to give back. Everybody's given so much to me. And I love that. And I just love being able to give back to them and really build bonds and relationships and take pride. I want to help people out as much as I can. I try to be a servant as much as possible.
So is that going to be, and this is my last question, and we were going to lead to Presbyterian, is that going to be kind of where your focus is after wrestling? What do you want to do? Kind of, what are you going to major in and that sort of thing?
Yeah. So I'm going to major in religion, but it specializes in leadership, ministry, and service. So really wherever God takes me, if that's being like a motivational speaker, then that's that. If that's being a youth pastor, that's that. I really love wrestling. And I feel like every high schooler says this, but it's been so much in my life and such a God-given gift and passion. I can't see my life without it. Maybe, building something off of that for kids, I really don't know, but I just know that's what I want to focus in, is just being able to give back to my community as much as I can and just being able to share the love of God and everything that it's done for me. So
very cool. Well, Ella, congratulations on being the Tricia Saunders, not only the North Carolina representative, but the Southeast representative and best elected Presbyterian. And I will see you in Fargo this year.
All righty. I'm super pumped.
All right. You take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.